Good evening. Welcome to another Buckman's Model Mania. Little bit out of sorts this evening because Todd has something else he's doing, so I'm a little bit behind because I'm used to having my producer, but not a big deal. We've got Gordon here. Todd told me he's not going to be here. Actually, that intro is shorter than I'm used to be honest. Let me make sure. Did I run the right one? I did. Okay. And Eric has shown up. And so that's all the chat. Ran through real quick. Been looking ahead. There's going to be a lot going on tonight. Depends on how far I get. I'm going to at least do a couple of stages tonight. I don't know. Is the video, is it out of sync? Because there's not much I can do if it is. Except maybe, just for giggles, let me stop the camera. And then I'll start the camera back up. And you tell me if the audio is back in sync or not. Yeah, it's out of sync. Hey, Dave. Welcome. So it's really easy to get it back in sync. The mic is going straight to StreamYards, not through OBS. That could be the problem. And Dave's here tonight. And actually, Todd, the easiest way to fix the sync problem is to change cameras. Because now you can't tell if there's a sync problem or not. So yeah, looking ahead tonight, I saw that there's going to be quite a bit of moving of the bus itself over, back and forth. I've got the lights that have not yet been installed over here. I've got the this one panel that goes over the, that could be. Exactly, change cams. But that could be, Todd, that OBS is lagging my video a bit while the mic is real time. Let me turn that light on. But like I said, by switching cameras, we pretty much eliminate that. Unless I start playing with plastic, and then the plastic's going to be out of sync. So tonight we're going to start working on oh, perfect. That sounds great, Todd. But tonight we're going to start working on the framework for the lower decks. Got stage 91 here. And I love the color this looks. Stage 91, which is windows for one side, as well as the side frames. Got one of the crank bars for the, it's one of the bars for opening the window on this framework. Actual bus, there are cranks that roll down the windows. On this part works, it doesn't actually work that way. It's just, you know, it'd be extremely complicated for them to try and do something like that. Just realized, let me get out the towel that Gilly thinks is dirty. It's not. Welcome, Lee. Glad you can make it. So we've got the frame. We've got the window frame, and this is the first one of the window frames that has a piece of sprue on it. And looking at this, this is also the first one I've noticed that, and you can see it actually in the camera. It is a little bit translucent. The others have not been translucent. since I will be messing with window frames, let me get a glove. The first thing I'm going to have to do is very carefully, especially since this is translucent material, so I don't want to have it actually graze the plastic. Let me see if I can get this piece of sprue cut off. Nice solid clump. Lee just showed up, and I've got the chat up on the other window as well. He said have a good stream. Got to go. See you next time. Glad you could at least stop in, Lee. The video will be there for posterity. You can check it out later on to see what actually happens. See how badly I screw this up, if I screw it up. Let me get this piece of glass out. Let me make sure there is a smudge on it. He said, okay, and well, I believe he meant well done, and see you on the next one, which next one will be on Wednesday. And let me get this other piece of glass here. Let me see. That one's got a little bit of a smudge on it too. Actually, it's not a smudge so much as a crack, or not a crack. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. There you go. Right there in the black of my palm, there's a slight scratch on it. That's because the pieces of glass, while they try to put them into place, they're actually kind of sitting loose in there. This is the one I'm more concerned with. No crazing on the glass. Let me set it over here, see if I can take that leftover sprue off. This is the problem. I don't want to cut the towel, and I don't want to scratch the glass by setting it on the cutting mat. As I said in the description, the bottom of the bus and the top of the bus are now fully, or as fully as they're going to get, populated. Let me see. So we've got a large pane of glass, small pane of glass, the window that moves up and down. We've got the bar here. Some screws and the window crank. As well as the frame. So that's right, the large pane of glass is going to be the stationary piece. And I have this upside down based on where it goes. Upside down and backwards, actually. So this larger one is going to go, I'm just looking to see if there's anything on it that I need to get rid of. It's going to go over here. I'm just looking to see making sure that the pour marks are not going to be actually in the window or inside the frame once it's there. This is going to be held in by 2 EM screws. Get the oil down here. Get the EM screws out of here. I've got a ton of EM screws, including a couple of red ones. Already got the screwdriver set up. I'm not sure if it's on. Don't think that's a small enough fit. Only 4. Not a red one. Get the red one. Get one of the black ones. Open this. Dip it in the oil. Let me get this first screw in, and then I will take care of the chat. So I saw that Chris is in the house. I'm just going to get this one started. Chris said it's soon got round to Monday again. Have a great stream. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate you stopping by. A little bit of oil on this one, and I'm trying not to get very much oil on these screws because they are going through the glass. From what I've heard, the glass oil will not mess with the plastic of the windows, but I don't want to risk it. Actually, might need to get the smaller bit still, because the head keeps popping out. That one's snug. Hopefully this one isn't going to give me a problem. This one on the upper left, because I'm tightening the other 3 down already. Come on. And just since I know I will be working with the bus itself tonight, it is on the table behind me rather than over on another table in the room where it usually sits. I may have to eventually take Todd's recommendation and get Wera screwdrivers. So that's got that first piece of glass in, and it does say to cut the sprue off on those 2 pieces. And then this one is going to go like that direction. I'm not sure. I think I've shown these tracks before. You can see a track here and a track here. And that is what, let me make sure I've got, yeah, right side. That is what the groove on the upper window sits into, is that track, just like that. So it says to put this one on. This is right next to the piece of glass I just put in. So this frame goes to the outside. That should should keep the glass in it. Let's try this again. It actually fits in there semi-snug. But when I was pushing it into the metal frame, the window itself popped out. Let me push that back. Get back up there. And you'll see I am touching the glass. Hang on a second. Let me turn this heater down. I'm touching the glass on the edges, doing my best not to touch the actual front of the glass. Okay, so that's going to go in there like that. This is going to get held in by well, that's interesting the way they do that. They tell you to put the OP screws in to hold the lower pane of glass in first, and then do the upper pane. Get the OP screw box out. Do not need the EM screws right now. Okay, there's 4 of them. Get rid of the bag. Start at this lower corner here. And these I am going to get started first before I tighten them all the way down. Because this is going into plastic, it is cutting the threads. Metal's a little bit more forgiving than plastic is. So now, I'm pushing from the bottom side to get the frame all the way into the plastic frame, all the way into the metal frame. Let me make sure. I think I just hit that piece of plastic there, the clear plastic. Hopefully I didn't scratch it. And I have had 1 or 2 of these throughout the build actually strip out the plastic, so I'm being a little bit careful here. And you know, sometimes I forget things, even though they're right in front of my face. I'm taking these screws back out because this piece of plastic, the clear plastic for the window there, is supposed to be in before these screws go in. Dave over in the UK has just facepalmed. I'm sure he has. Okay, so yeah, this one here, I'm going to turn it that way. Yeah, that's the inside. I put the scratch on the outside so that I can hit it with future. This here needs to go, if you can see the pour marks here and here, that needs to go on the bottom. Otherwise, it would be visible in the window. So let me put this back in here. Now that I've made a fool of myself and put it in wrong, or put the screws in without the window. But no harm, no foul, because I can fix it. Once this is done, I think this is going to be one of my favorite part works. Okay. Now let me retighten these, and I can feel it as the frame is pulled down, as the plastic frame is pulled down into the metal frame. It actually, well, here, you can see right there how it is actually sticking out quite a ways right here. As I tighten this screw, that shadow where it's sticking out should go away unless I strip the screw out. Didn't strip it out completely, but it did a little bit, and it okay, got it pushed in. That should let me hopefully get it the rest of the way tightened in there. I appreciate that, Dave. So what you're saying is you're confident in my abilities. And for those of you that may not be on the same channel, this is what Dave said. He was just listening until I said something, and then he's like, well, there you go. But that's okay, Dave, because Todd, when I was working on the Enterprise, did the same thing. He'd get occupied with something, and then I'd do something that, you know, he was supposed to say, don't do that. And I would say, Todd, you forgot to tell me not to do that. And he'd go, don't do that. So I was about to go, that's odd. I don't have enough black BP screws. But on the other hand, maybe I should open the bags and put these screws in there. That's what I didn't do that I normally do. I've still got the screws in bags. I usually get all the screws and put them away first. And of course, I grabbed 2 of the silver. So let me get this first one in, and then I'll get this one on the other side. This time, let me push the frame in before I try and tighten the screw so that it's snug before the screw gets tight. I felt that one pull in a little bit. Make sure something ain't right, because this thing is very solid. It should not be that solid. I should be able to move that window, which tells me that probably one side or the other is out of the track. Just for giggles, let me loosen these up a hair. This window may stay up. They're both in the track. but it is not wanting to slide up and down the way it's supposed to. Okay. Let me loosen it a little bit more and see if I can loosen all 6 of the screws a little bit, see if I can get that in where it's supposed to be, because it really feels like it's not correct in where it's at. Come on. Okay, now it's still wants to bind on that one side. Okay. Let me try it this way instead, and maybe I won't tighten it quite as much. We do the top 2 first. Okay, that's still working. Just a little bit on the middle 2 to the bottom 2. It's not perfect, but it does move. So I'm going to call it good and stop fighting with it. And then on here, let me see. Okay, right there, right here, using NM screws. Got a handle here that goes on there. It's 2 of them. So you can see, focus. So there's 3 holes. In the middle is a pin. On either side is where the screws go. So it's going to go on there. Come on, focus. Just like that. That head's way too big. It's kind of hard to switch the bits out with one hand. Put a little bit of oil on there. And if I can get the screw to line up. Got that side started. Thought I had it started. It's actually only into the plastic. The only thing that's actually into the metal right now is the pin. That one's actually started now. Just because I don't want to over torque these, I'm going to just use the bit. Okay. So that's got that handle on there. Windows are all on. And on here, and I will turn around and put it on the bus itself once I've got the handle on there. But I'm not moving the bus to just show this handle in there, or the window, this in the window frame. Once the bus comes over here, I'll show it. And one thing to make sure you do when if you build this is you see the flat side of the indented side of the tab that goes in towards the bus, and the crank goes on the inside. Okay, just making sure that I'm getting the fat end of the crank to go in there. The bump will be on the top. So when it's done, it'll look like that, hanging down. There. So now let me turn around and make sure I've got the right side of the bus, which I do. And that will go in the first window. This is where I find out if Mickey is too close to the window or not. Because Mickey is in the front seat on this side. If it was lower, he would be in the way. Come on, get on that pin. Sorry, I'm leaving you guys nothing to look at right now. And it's also dark over there, so I will put that on when we actually put this on here. So let me set this up here out of the way. Get the next stage, which is the back part of the left-hand side of the bus. Let me see. It appears that all the windows except this one right here are still in place, the plastic for the windows. Instead of fighting with this to get these out, the narrow end, I'm going to go ahead and cut across here. Get all the screws out. This time I'll do what I usually do, which is put away all the screws first. So I've got some EM screws. By the way, if there's any dead airspace tonight, if I get boring and there's dead airspace, blame it on Todd, because he's not here. Although he said he was going to try and listen, so he might say something in the chat in a minute. Of course, on the other hand, we could blame it on Eric as well, because Eric could jump on and could produce. But it's okay. Let me get the JP screws out of here. The OPs. Todd popped on the chat to say it's his fault. He will take the blame. And Eric said, should I post yet another picture of his feet in front of the TV? Eric, when he watches YouTube streams, sometimes even streams he's supposed to be in, like last Friday, he will post pictures of his feet up in the recliner watching the stream on the TV, which is completely okay, except for when he's supposed to be on the stream. But that's okay. We'll forgive him because we love him. So we've got another handle, crank handle and crossbar. The back half of the framework, another frame, another clear window for the top window, and the bottom half window and the full window. So just like last time, it says to put the first, is that it? No, putting it in backwards. Put it in right here over the wheel. And that's 4 EM screws. And this will be going into metal, so I'll be dipping them in oil. Let me see. That actually, I'm going to leave the smaller head on the screwdriver. I just saw, let me double check. Oh, okay, it's just a bag. I saw a screw bag there, and I was like, did I forget to put some screws away? Wouldn't surprise me if I did. In other modeling news, I finally got back on the Queen Mary 2. Did the decal that was scaring me to death for the last 6 months, and it came out looking pretty good, and I trimmed it after it dried. It's not perfect, but it looks really good. Exactly, Todd. What else would be new? Last screw, and I tighten them all down. But I got that decal on finally. And so I need to decal the other side, but it looks really, really good. And it's been so long since I worked on the Queen Mary that I realized I have no clue what I was doing. So I have to get back on it because exactly that. I have forgotten where I was at and what I was doing. Did some paint work on the VW bus today. The small one that I'm working on. I'm just slightly ahead on the VW bus of where I am on the Agostini Samba. Paintwork looks really good. Need to do a little bit of touch up. I actually brush painted because where it's at, it's right behind the very rear seat. But 2 coats looks really good. The 3rd coat is going to clean up everything that is left over at this point, that the brush marks that are left over. And then then underneath that spot, I have to also do the area above the engine so that it doesn't look wrong. And then the two halves of the chassis can go together. Hang on. Just because. Okay, no. I'm looking at this and it's looking almost like, you know, like the other one did. Hang on. Let me take a look here. Whoops. No, there's no groove there. Piece of plastic on there. Make sure. Yeah, that's definitely wrong. The other way is the way it goes. It's interesting because this one is and there's the problem. I didn't see it on the other one. I'm not going to take it apart. You can almost see in the camera right there where the end of my thumbnail is, where they took it off the sprue. They left a little bit of a nub. And that is what's causing the problem on the other side. So now, make sure I get it on there, the groove side down. Hang on. Still not perfect. Being careful not to sand the paint off. Make sure I got the excess off of there. That's better. I was actually having to push it down in. Now it should maybe slide up and down. Turn this back over and we will see if it fits. Well, it'll fit, but will it operate? Set it there like that. And I'm going to need 4 OPs, then 2 BPs in a minute. So I'm going to start with the center ones first. That needs a bigger bit. Better. To the bottom corner, bottom left corner. And if you notice, what I'm doing is the exact same thing I did last time. Let me take these screws back out and get the window. But what I was going to say is I'm going cross corner. I go to the top right corner, then the bottom left. So let me go back and do this again, but this time with the glass in place. top right. Oops, come on. Bottom left. And almost had it in there. Like I pointed out before, the pour marks are on the bottom. Or not really pour marks, they're injection marks. So top left, and I'm pushing against the plastic framework on the other side. Bottom right, and then go back around and snug them all up. I apologize, I'm a little bit out of frame there. And this one is actually working a little bit better than the other one was, although it is still a little bit bowed. Yes, exactly, Eric. We know that about you, that you're asleep. We expect that about you, Eric, or from you. Okay, so 2 BP screws. And I do know that Eric, a lot of times during streams, will say he's awake. The truth is, Eric doesn't sleep during the streams. He might get distracted, but he's got some sleep issues. There is no diode that comes with the bus, Eric. You could make one, but it'd be huge. I mean, you can tell how big the bus is, or maybe you forgot. You'll see it in a few minutes when I bring it over. But I want to say it's going to be a full 2 feet long, and it's about 15 inches tall. So that's got those together. Let me get the sprue cutter out of the way. The screws go in from the back. Hang on, I'm looking at this. No, I've got it backwards. Screws can go in from the front. So turn it over. Wheel's going to be on the right. We've got these lugs that stick into the channels here, and 2 screws that go in there. 3 screws, sorry. There's one up at the top as well. And those are going to be FM screws. I'm going to have to get everything moved out of here in a minute. A smart person would just set up another camera on the bench next to me. But that would mean I would have to be smart. I'm ahead of the chat again. Todd's a funny guy. Todd's a very funny guy. I wouldn't have room for a dio for this. Not trying to get her snug, but not strip it out. And truthfully, even if you strip out a screw at this point, something like this, these screws are more going to be for holding laterally rather than in, because there's about 1 billion screws from what I've seen that actually hold it together with the frame or with the bus. Okay, why are you not going in there, son? That's better. I'll show you what just happened in a second. Let me get this screw in here. So that should probably make that one a little bit. There we go. That's better. That one should be good now. So what happened? Now let's see what Todd said first. I'm not the dio master. Eric's the dio master. You just haven't seen any of Eric's dios. The dio I'm building came as a kit. Make a dio of a street quarter. I am, but that's for a much smaller tram. It's half scale of this. So right here, this tab was still sticking up quite a bit. When you heard the pop, that was the tab going down into the groove where it's supposed to be. Eric lives in a chair. He makes no doubt. Well, yeah, he used to. He used to make some really good dios. Matter of fact, if anybody has seen his USS Rust Bucket, that is a really awesome dio. He crashed it into a planet. Okay, make sure I've got this the right way around. I actually have one of these window cranks that tends to want to fall out if you touch it. So that one goes towards the back. It fall, yes. Rust bucket, fall down and go really boom. So let me get these out of the way. This panel can go over here. These lights, these crossbars. Okay, can I get it over there without making things go boom? Holy crap, this thing is heavy when you don't stand up. Oh, it's the start of the show. Let me see if I can get it. That's as far as she's going to go in. So let's move this camera here. Let's see, is that the right camera? That is the wrong camera. There. Let me see if I move this camera. There we go. Okay, so let me catch up on chat real quick. Like I said, Eric said it fall down and go boom. Todd says, I wonder if we hit his titanium spine with 24 volts, would he start running around building models and dials? He might. Faster than a Dremel, hotter than a soldering iron, always alert. Yes, be alert. The world needs more alerts. Never sleeping, always awake. What did Dave say? I'm actually trying to look over the top of the bus to see the chat. I'm building for a data for one of my buses. It'll be street scene, both sides of the road, with the bus on one side of the bus stop and the other side with a couple of cars, bikes, and people. Well, 1/12. That's going to be massive, Dave. I want to see it. And that is all the chat. Hang on. Okay. What I was fighting with earlier, and now I'm not sure which one is which. So this will be exciting, especially when I throw one of them on the floor. So this one should be here. Like, let me see, are they the same length? They are the same length. So let me push this one in on these tabs. While I'm thinking about it, let me move this over here because I've got it sitting on top of a cup right there, folded, or not folded, but that's where the cup was right here. So I don't want it to stress those screws too badly. And when I went to put this on first time, when I went to put this on first time, it looked like it was going to knock Mickey in the nose. Let me see something. Are you kidding? That is. So let me see. Okay. Mumbling to myself, but I'm going to see because I think my problem earlier was that the bar isn't quite long enough. The bar is not quite long enough there. So let me see if this makes a difference. It does, actually. Okay, I was putting the wrong bar in there. So Dave said, did I get it? It'll be 4 foot square, and you'll be seeing bits of it soon when I finish the other. So I'm working on at the present. Very cool, Dave. Very, very cool. Looking forward to seeing that. You know, there. I just moved my StreamYard's window over to the other monitor so I could actually see it. Matter of fact, I'm looking. Oh, no, you can't see it. It's up a little bit higher. So now this is going to go up here. Move the PDF up a little bit so I can actually see what I'm supposed to be doing. So position the framework against the lower deck and closing the window bars, tabs across the top notches indicated by light dotted lines. With 4 JP, use 6 JP screws to fit the middle. So, wait, it says 4 JP. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not actually attaching it to the top yet. So it's got 4 JPs that are going to go here. 6. Can you see? Yeah. 6 that are going to go here. There's 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 FM screws down on the bottom. 6 FMs are going to go in these flat panels down here. Okay. So we start with back to JP's. JP's. Okay, I see. I was like, these plastic screws? Yes, I just realized that it was JP's, and the JP's are going into the roof down here, and then the 6 are going to go on here. The screws going into metal are down here, and then later on the screws going into metal will be up here. So let me get 10 JP's out. That should be about 10 or maybe 25. That's plenty. So this is where I need a Cisco. Todd, can I borrow your Cisco? Just looking where everything is going to line up. Are we catching? We are caught. Good. Of course, I'm a dork. That's one of the middle screws. The top ones go up here. Oh, sure. Yeah, if you knew where he was. He would find O'Fallon entertaining. No, O'Fallon is awesome because O'Fallon literally is small town USA from, like when we were all not even kids yet. Well, most of us weren't kids. I was a kid when we had the small town USA like that. And you did book your room for Wonderfest. I haven't yet. I should, even though Wonderfest is only 4 hours away from me. Now, by the way, Todd, one funny thing about O'Fallon is when you come to O'Fallon, you got to make sure you go to the right one, because O'Fallon, Illinois, has a sister city, I guess you would call it, of O'Fallon, Missouri. And that's about 30 miles away. Okay, got one in here. Don't want to go over tight. This just doesn't actually, you know what? Let me see. Is it flexing the side of the bus? I just can't quite get my eyeball down inside there to make sure it's on where it's supposed to be. But it is snug. So whatever it's into, it is good and tight. That one's tight, tight, tight. So let's start with this one, which does not look like it's going to want to reach. It does not reach. It almost reaches. Let me get that one back out. And the key thing is these are going to snug it up against the plastic of the lower deck. More important is that window. That window's bugging me. Go up. More important is going to be the metal ones that are actually holding it to the bus. And the funny thing is, if I remember right, looking at the Revell 125th, which I have the 125th Revell, thought about building them concurrently with this one, but haven't even started it yet. But I believe the Revell is actually constructed the same way, where you build the inner bus and then a framework and then the outer bus. Don't let, layovers in Chicago, Detroit, or Denver, especially not Detroit. Fly through St. Louis. Or do like SCHUH does and drive. SCHUH drives from Bremerton, Washington to Louisville for Wonderfest. And that screw is still not making it. And this is where Dave tells me I should make sure that this wire is not what's blocking it. And driving to Kentucky. Oh, come on. Why not? Yes, the fastest, quickest way to anywhere is through North Dakota. Depending on how much you've been smoking of what kind of stuff. Come on. By George, I think he's got it. A little bit of a flex on that. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed. Let me switch cameras real quick. I didn't go far enough. This is just sitting on here. I just decided I would pop it on there. It's a good place to store it. So that one's in. That was the worst one. This one is still out a little bit. Make sure that's tight. That one's the one in the middle. In 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's your problem. Okay, right here, it was off like this. That's what was causing the frame not to fit there. That is all my JPs. So now I need 4 FMs to lock the bottom on. Here's a thought, Todd. Nah, actually, you're not going to want to drive 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours from St. Louis. I was going to say, if you're renting a car, you could always rent it in St. Louis. Okay, so a little bit of oil on here. And I'm going to start with this one that was being troublesome first. And note, the top of the bus is still loose. It is still not attached. And I got out 4 JPs and I need 6. Or not JPs, FMs. I don't know if you see it in camera. I'll watch when I do this next one. But if you watch, you may see this panel start to suck in as I do it. Nope. At least it doesn't, this one didn't look like it sucked in the way the other, this one did pretty well. Let me get 2 more screws out while I'm thinking about it. By the way, why am I still wearing a glove? Not working with the glass anymore. My hands all sweaty. So let me start from the front here. And I believe, just looking at it, there should be panels that, and I hope they're not as small as they look, because there's a scad of really tiny screws if they are. Now this one you may see suck in a little bit because I see it does look like it's out a little bit from the plastic. Nope. Okay, so let me see. That is the end of that stage. Turn the model around so you have access to the rails. Fit. Yeah. So I'm thinking, let me move this behemoth out of the way, and this time I'm going to stand up because it just gained about a half a pound, give or take. Actually, yeah. Oh. Nothing to worry about there. That was just the plastic from earlier. Let me swing this camera around. Echo, turn on patio. Move this so I know what I'm looking at. There is the bus in all its glory, and the goofy hat. You can see, like I said, I've got people everywhere here. I've decided that I'm going to have a smaller goofy down here. Pete may actually end up fully out here on the step. So that's where I think I'm going to leave her for tonight. You don't see this. You don't see me putting the goofy hat back on. So let me catch up on chat and kill this light. I think it was. Yeah. Echo, turn off patio. So let me catch up on chat. And Todd said, apparently people don't fly from Phoenix to Louisville or back. There are exactly 0 direct flights. Probably your best bet on any airline is going to be Delta, and on that one you're going through Georgia. So hey, fly to Georgia, ride with Ian. Dave said that the panels are quite large. It's some of the panel strips and screws that are tiny. Yeah, I saw you putting the little strips between the panels. So, like I said, that's it for tonight. I'm trying to be cognizant of the my UK friends who tend to show up for these, because it's now, I believe, what is it? Should be about 12:15 over there now. So I'm shortening my weekday streams. It also gives me a little bit more in the evening, especially we're not into summer, but summer's coming and I'm going to need to be doing yard work and stuff like that. So I'm only doing those 2 stages. We'll see what happens next week. And I would have gone further, but it looks, just from the instructions, it looks like putting this door in and this light could be a little bit tough. As a matter of fact, looking at the instructions where it says to lift up the top frame just enough to put this in there, I may do that before I stream. Yeah, like I said, Gordon says it's 12:15 a.m. Have a good evening, Gordon. Thanks, Dave. And so everybody like and subscribe. Come on over to Facebook, Hobby Time Modelers. Join, see what we're all about. There's a bunch of us. We're closing. I think we just passed 450. We're closing on 460 people. We've also got Hobby Time Modelers on YouTube. That's where we do our Friday and Sunday streams, and also where you can catch this stream as well. So I'm going to call it an evening. I will end it with saying, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, have a great day, have a great tomorrow, and I will catch you next time. And I don't have Todd, so I have to wave it myself this time. Have a good one, folks.